everyone. Welcome to Lilybug's Library, or welcome back. So today we're going to wrap up our September TBR. I realize we still have a little time left in September, but I'm anxious to kind of wrap this one up and move on, and then whatever we have left, we'll just kind of talk about as we go. But the main reason that I wanted to talk about this one is there is an arc that came out on the 20th. So I'm a few days late on that one, but better late than never. So we'll talk about that one and a few others. Actually, I believe I have two arcs. Yeah, so good thing we did this now. So the first one was The Diva Runs Out of Thyme, Thyme, by Krista Davis. So this one is about Sophie Winston and her childhood rival, Natasha. So Natasha pretty much has everything Sophie would want, including Sophie's husband. So Sophie maybe doesn't want him anymore, but she certainly did. And Natasha has like a TV show, and she's like the new Martha Stewart, and everybody pays close attention to what she's doing. So they're having a stupendous stuffing shakedown. So she, is planning on putting, the right spices in and making this perfect and beating Natasha. That's her goal. So that is, what she's planning on, but that's not what she gets because as all of this is going on, she ends up stumbling on a corpse. So that kind of throws everything into chaos, and she doesn't know, what's happening or why this person died, but that is, a problem. And then to top it off, there's another corpse, and this time her name and her photo is inside the victim's car, even though she doesn't know them. So it's, somehow she's being dragged into all of this. And I thought it was really good. It takes place around Thanksgiving, so it's a good fall cozy. Maybe even more so if you live in Canada, because we have Thanksgiving in October, and in America they have it in November. So either way, it's fall. So it, for some reason, like it's a good solid cozy, and I really enjoyed it. For some reason, it reminded me of Clue. I don't know why exactly. I'm thinking maybe it's because um, it's not a locked room cozy, and yet there's like a Thanksgiving dinner scene where kind of all the suspects seem to be there. So I guess that's maybe where I'm getting the Clue vibes from. But there were, lots of suspects, and then Sophie is very diligent. She's searching for clues everywhere. She's not ruling anyone out, and the relationship between her and her ex-husband's interesting. The one between her and a police officer is interesting. There's a lot going on. So really enjoyed that one, and I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars. And thank you to NetGalley, the author and the publisher, for a chance to read that before it did come out. And for everyone else, I, encourage you to go out and get it now that it's available. So that one was good. The next one was part of the, well, not part of my TBR, but it's in that vein of Regency. So this one was called Miss Newberry's List, and it takes place in England, 1820. So Rosalind Newberry is getting ready to marry the Duke of Marlborough. She's only met him twice. She really is kind of strong-willed. She knows how she wants to spend her time, and being a duchess isn't really it. But apparently, if her father gives the Duke part of his land, he will marry Rosalind, and it would be good for the family. So that's fine. But then as a child, I can't remember the aunt's name. I don't think they tell me. No. When she was a child, one of her aunts got married. And before the aunt left to go on her honeymoon, she talked to Rosalind, and she said that she had had a list of 10 things that she wanted to do before she got married. And that kind of made getting married a little more palatable because she would have done the things that she really wanted to do without having to answer to anyone. So Sophie took that to heart, and sorry, Roz took that to heart. I'm still back on the other one. Roz took that to heart, and she created her own list of 10 things she wants to do before she marries the Duke. So she goes to visit her childhood friend who doesn't live very far from her. And her name is. What is her name? Liza. Her name is Liza, and she goes to visit her and finds out that Liza's cousin Charlie is staying there. He is a second son. He's seems to get into a lot of trouble. His parents aren't happy with him. You know, the usual kind of story of a second son, I guess. So she meets him, and he discovers the list, and ends up they become closer, and he starts helping her to finish the list before she has to marry the Duke. So it's she really starts to fall more and more for Charlie as he's helping her to finish the list. So it was really good. I really enjoyed the relationship between Roz and Charlie. I thought Liza was, a cute character, but you get, even though she's Roz's best friend, you get snippets of her, but not maybe as much as you might think. And then the plot was intriguing with Rosalind's list and the things that she wanted to accomplish. Like she wants to learn to swim, and she wanted to have a grand adventure, and like a lot of things. And the fact that that she knew marrying the Duke, she wasn't going to be able to do those things. And so Charlie was really working hard to help her with her list. At the same time, saying to her, like, are you sure you want to marry the Duke? And so it gets her thinking a lot more than what she would have otherwise. And she realizes that she has two very different men with two very different outlooks on women. And it's up to her to decide what she really wants in life. So, anyway, that one was great. Gave it a 4 to 5 as well. So, really enjoyed that one. I know it wasn't on the list, but hardly anything is. So, that's just the way it is. It turns out I have figured out, took me a long time, but I have now figured out, as much as I love the themes each month, starting next year, I'm going to throw the themes out because I'm discovering I'm more of a mood reader. So we'll see what I do with that. But anyway, for now, we're doing this. So the next one that I read, another Regency, but again, not one that was on my list. This one is The Calling of Her Highland Heart, and a beautiful cover. I love the purple cape and then the kind of lavender dress. It's gorgeous. So this one was about Cassidy, and her name is spelled Caiside, and I actually had to ask Echo how you pronounce that because it is Gaelic, I believe. So anyway, her name's Cassidy, and she is the Laird's sister, and he took over as Laird for his clan after their father passed away. But he thought very differently than their father, and he's cruel, and he's nasty, and he really doesn't care about anybody but himself and his own ego. So she was kind of under his control, and then there's a captain of the guard that kind of watches over everything, and his name's Lorcan, and he particularly watches over her because he's interested in her, and she's interested in him, but it doesn't go any further. So because of the way that her brother is, everything starts to go downhill, and they get attacked, and Lorcan comes for Cassidy, and they manage to escape, but then he's very hurt, and she has heard of a white witch that is someplace in the hills and that is said to heal people. So she is out there, looking for that person and trying to get help for Lorcan, and it kind of goes from there. So it's a beautifully sweet romance. He really wants to keep Cassidy safe. She really wants to keep him safe, and I would, with all the things that happen in it, her growth, his his loyalty, his um, way of trying to keep her from making mistakes, and just his whole personality. I really felt like they both grew a lot during the book, and really love the way that their romance went. So that one I would give 5 out of 5. It definitely kept me reading until the wee hours of the morning. So the next one is my second arc. This one is actually a Christmas one. This one is called A Sleigh Ride Together with You, and sleigh is Slay. So this one's by Vicki Delaney, and again, thank you to Nick Alley, to the publisher and the author for giving me a chance to read this. So this one is part of her year-round Christmas mystery series, and it's the seventh in that series. So this one was kind of interesting because being a year-round Christmas series, I never really thought about like what do they do when it's not close to Christmas. So in this one, it's actually closer to Easter than it is to Christmas, and so because of that, they still have their Christmas stuff up, but they've also added Easter stuff to it, and like Santa sitting in a sleigh with the Easter bunny, and they're kind of trying to embrace it all for the tourists. So while they're doing all this, Mary is, and it's Mary like Merry Christmas. So Mary runs a shop, and she's busy with that, and has helpers, but they're not the greatest helpers. But she's looking after everything there, and her best friend Vicky actually owns a different shop, and I think Vicky's is a bakery, and I can't remember. I think Mary's is just like general kind of Christmas goods. So Vicky is getting ready to get married, and her and her fiance Mark decide to buy this rundown house. So it's a rundown house that has quite a past, and it's was always the spooky old house that the kids would try to see if they could run up to and touch on Halloween and things like this, because it had been abandoned for years. So they end up buying this, and then all these relatives start turning up out of the woodwork from the woman who had owned it, saying that they had a claim on it, and different reasons that they felt it should have been theirs. And meanwhile, they're staying in the house and trying to get it, to be worth living in because it's in pretty bad shape. And they're hearing these scratchings and noises and all these things, and someone ends up getting murdered, and Vicky's fiance ends up getting accused of the murder. So won't tell you any more than that. It was great. I really felt like I was surrounded by friends and family in this in this town. Everybody was for the most part really close, and it was just very sweet. There were a lot of terrific owners and great shops, and it's one of those mysteries where really everyone kind of wanted the victim dead, or at least out of their lives, because they were not very popular. And there's even a sweet Saint Bernard in it that she owns, and it's lends some laughs to that occasionally too. So I would like to read one a little closer to Christmas so that they really kind of doubled down on the Christmas theme more. But still, really liked it. I would give that one 4 out of 5 as well. So the next one, let me take a drink here. I'm talking too much. So the next one's called Wayward. So this is one that I got as an audiobook from my local library. I wasn't sure if I would like it because it was a little darker than what I thought, or well, not really darker than what I thought it would. Sorry, I'm covering up my mic. Not really darker than what I thought it would be, but a little darker than what I usually read. So I wasn't sure if I would like it. And then the first couple of minutes, I again questioned, are you going to like this? Because it starts out, there's 3 different timelines, and one is 1619, and Alpha is awaiting trial for the murder of a local farmer who was stampeded to death by his herd. And as a girl, her mother taught her magic, but it's the kind not rooted in spell casting, but in a deep knowledge of nature. So they are accusing her of being a witch and being responsible for this man's death. And then the second timeline is 1942, and Violet is she longs, for her mother who is long deceased, and her father's saying like her mother went mad, and then Violet is starting to find kind of clues that maybe was not the truth, and finds out that like she doesn't really know anything about being a woman, and she kind of gets taken advantage. Well, she doesn't kind of. She gets taken advantage of because of that, and that causes a whole spiral with her father, who is not a nice man to begin with. And the third timeline is 2019, and that was where we started, and that was the point where I thought, But the character in that timeline is Kate, and she is fleeing London to go to this wayward cottage where she kind of vaguely remembers it, and she inherited it. And she is doing this to run away from the man, her husband, who is abusing her. And so it kind of starts a little bit with that, which kind of made me go, I don't know. But thankfully, it's done very well, and it's not real graphic. So she runs away and goes to this cottage because she knows that he won't be able to find her there. So between the three timelines, I mean, it was incredible. They did a really good job of it. It's like 5 centuries basically of this family of women, and all of them with this magical ability to connect with nature. So was really good. The storylines all captured my attention, which is unusual. Usually there's one storyline that you really, can't wait to get back to, and then the second timeline, it's like, whatever, But this one, all three of them were very good. And I thought it was fascinating too because it dealt with the kind of magic you don't always see in paranormal books. You know, dealing with insects and birds and things like that instead of like spell casting and wands and all of that. So I thought it was great. And the only thing I would say is if I was to read it again, I would read it as a physical book, not an audible, not an audio book. And that's because I found with the three timelines, you did occasionally get a little mixed up as to who you were listening to and which timeline it was. So again, 4 out of 5 stars. So we're doing really well with our reading. So I think that was it for yeah, I think that was it for this month so far. We're still, Wonderful Husband and I are still working on James Patterson. We are only reading it at nighttime, and I've been so tired that I'm sure I'm only getting through a few pages each time, so there is that, but what can you do, right? So that is it for that, and a few spooky books, a couple of Regency books. We kind of ran the gamut, but all pretty good. And hope you found something there that you think you might be interested in. I know Wayward will probably be really good for this spooky season. And yeah, some of the other ones again were all really great as well. So I hope you have a great day. I'm off to appointments. Dudley has finally decided to lie down and have a nap. He was a little crazy earlier, running back and forth. Had to get his zoomies out, I guess. So anyway, have a great day and hope it's a nice fall day where you are, just like it is here, and you can get out and enjoy it. All right, talk to you soon, friends. Bye-bye.